Sports presents Benning Bites with Damon Benning. Benning Bites with Damon Benning.
Good morning. Another episode of Benning's Bites. What is on my mind? Well, obviously, spending an awful lot of time in Lincoln this past few days and the ones upcoming at the broadcast, obviously, for Wisconsin. We will play there tonight as a high school coach as Westside takes on Gretna. I'll be back tomorrow on the call, and I'm going to poke my head over and watch a little practice as well as Nebraska gets ready to take on Iowa. For me, I've kind of been optimistic just because I like Nebraska's mindset in terms of, well, for a multitude of reasons. I felt like they were kind of building off of Illinois to go into Minnesota, and then, Michigan presented a challenge at the quarterback spot for Nebraska, but Nebraska seemed to be pretty dialed in based on how Michigan wanted to play, and I really thought that Nebraska was going to upset Wisconsin. Well, I picked, I think, 20-17, but said I could see that being either team 20-17. So, but this one is different for me, and it's not just because it's an Iowa thing, and I know I get a ton of the Iowa jokes, but this one will be Nebraska's most difficult task, in my opinion, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, this is it. This is the swan song for a couple of these guys playing at Nebraska as they take on Iowa. And I think sometimes when the end is near, you have to compartmentalize really, really well that it's not over yet. And that's going to be a difficult challenge, I think, for Nebraska, especially without a ton of resolution up to this point of what's going on with Coach Joseph. The other thing is you're going against a team that has had an emotional stronghold on Nebraska since Nebraska's basically been in the Big Ten. And it's maybe not always manifested itself in wins and losses early as much as it has late, but between the fan bases and the expectation levels of the players in that program, Iowa fully expects to beat Nebraska every time they play, and I'm not sure Nebraska is there yet. And so Nebraska's taking on a team that emotionally is looking forward to this team coming to town because I think they have the blueprint in order to beat Nebraska emotionally before that ball even kicks. So Nebraska's going to have to really rally in terms of what they bring to the table emotionally. Physically, it's going to be tough just because of the way Iowa plays. But we always say, running the football, stop and run, turnovers and special teams, it will be no more important than in this one, as we've seen what Iowa's done with special teams and turnovers. We saw how they got Minnesota late a week ago. And so I think for Nebraska, it's this one's more mental than it is physical. But if anybody's up to the challenge in terms of a swan song, then I think it's Coach Joseph. He will have those guys upbeat and ready to go. Talked to him this morning about 5:45. So, of course, he's not sleeping, and he will be ready to go. But if you're looking for an emotional advantage, won't be this week, I don't think, for the University of Nebraska, as they will have their hands full. But as the week progresses, I'll give you more. Stay tuned for Benning's Bites. I'll be back tomorrow. However you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, whatever you like to do to consume your pods, or ask me the questions on Twitter, at Damon Benning. You can get at me. Hit me with a DM, hit me with a tweet. I'll get you covered. What would you ask me if we were just going to stop and shoot the breeze and what's on my mind for the day? That's it. A morsel, a nibble, a bite, if you will. They're my own. That's why they're called Benning Bites.